is up, guys? What is up? What is up? What is up? It's a good day, right? It's a good day. It would even be a better day if this commentary would have went the way I wanted to go, but that bugger did duck me. But enough of that. KPG in the place. Let's get on with this video. Let's get on with episode 4 of the SV build. Now, let me just say, I completely forgot that I didn't actually record the changing of the stator cover, or the stator side of the engine's cover, stator cover. I did not record that. When I was reviewing the videos, watching through them, then that's when I really realized that no, this was when I was bucking into another problem that I was having concerning this side of the engine. But I'm gonna get back to that, because this right here is the reason why I had to end up buying in this case, a used stator cover. As you can see, the original part that came with the bike is extremely not just scuffed up, but damaged. It was welded also, meaning that somebody crashed the bike at some point. I know not who. I don't really know the history fully of the bike, at least didn't know the history of the bike until the work that I have done on the bike. So you can see my main problem. It wasn't the welding. I could straighten parts of it out. I could smoothen everything and line up everything, you know, all of that. Problem is, it's completely missing a screw port where the screw goes in to the cover and latches onto the engine. That is a no-no, because what makes it worse is this is on the bottom side of the engine, so it will leak. No doubt about it, this would have leaked. So I ended up buying a whole used cover for the stator side of the engine. What I did is I switched out the stator itself, switched out all of the parts that was needed that the replacement part didn't have. I did that, dropped that in, sealed it up, so on and so forth, and basically attempted to start the bike. So before I get back to that part, let me just take to the process of this video itself. What is actually happening in this video? As you can see, the stator side of the engine, I started off by removing the clutch pin and the actuator and everything together, and moved that out of the way, unbolted all of the bolts and removed the cover. The reason why I really did come into this side of the engine today, or in this case, was to deal with the issue that was on the original cover. The fact that this motorcycle crashed at some point and was welded. Now, it's a reasonable amount of the engine itself has evidence of it being welded, but the weld isn't particularly bad. But inside of this side of the engine, I noticed where in the crease it kind of dips, and it's possible that it may have a pinhole leak. So before I started putting oil in the bike, I wanted to make sure that wasn't the case. So took that side down, got some JB weld, and took a old toothbrush with some dish soap and cleaned that side of the engine, remove any debris, remove any oil from this particular spot that I needed to seal, cleaned it, prep it, and then I JB welded. Now, after I mixed the JB weld, I used a small card, basically part of the JB weld original box, and I took that JB weld on it and placed it into the hole, or the spot that I needed to be sealed. I use this card that I can get a smooth application on this spot. Now, also I do want to mention, when I did swap out the old cover with the new cover, the current one now, I did not have, I did not have an issue with the stator or any other part in the side of the engine. Everything was in pretty good condition, to be honest. You know, beside the welding and the cover being trashed, everything else was on this side of the engine was in really good condition. So when I did install this replacement case cover, I never really cleaned it. So I took a sharp blade and I tried that. I tried straight edge. I even tried some new metal brushes that I have, or I got, to clean the side of the engine, you know, to clean anything that is needed for, but in this case, to clean the old gasket that was on the replacement part. And then I'm like, wait a minute, why am I doing this manually when I have something called a drill with a metal spin unit or connection for it? So, you know, cleaned all of that old residue off. Now after I did all of that, I put the old gasket that basically came with the bike on it. It was still in one piece, you know, not in the best condition, but it was still in one piece, usable at least for this repairing of the vehicle. I put gasket maker, high heat gasket maker on the outside cover of it, the cover itself, placed it back on the bike. Put all of the screws back in place, screw them down by hand, put them down with the ratchet. Got that done, and right here is where things kind of switches up here and there, if you may say. So what I did do is cranked it, tried, cranked it, tried, cranked it. I had a brand new body when I first tried this, and this is when I kind of first experienced the first jam, locked up off the engine with this particular gear, what I mentioned, jumping and jamming, or I don't know, moving. I don't know why it kept happening. The thing is, I believe that it might not have actually been that gear that was giving me said problem. It more than likely was something else, but it was easier to blame it on that because it seemed like that was more obvious until you realize that that should be almost impossible for this gear to jump in that way. Anyway, this happened to me once or twice after that. When it basically locked up, it didn't cause any damage per se. Every time when it did that, I emptied the engine of the oil that I did put in it. I emptied it and added new oil and so on. At least the same oil I kept using over and over every time I have to empty it, because it doesn't make sense. I didn't get the bike started again. I attempted to start the bike. I used starter fluid with it. Well, because it didn't have a fuel pump. It barely had a fuel tank. that's the next episode. Anyway, what I did is use the starter fluid while the bike was still in the house. Very bad idea. Do not do that. Trust me. I knew better. I do know better, and I was quite careful with it. But still, yeah. Anyway, so I got it. I could hear where the bike's tried to start, but then I kept having battery issues. I got a charger. I bought a charger specifically for the bike and motor vehicles. Works fine, but the batteries were all trash. I think I mentioned that in one of my vlog episodes that all my batteries were terrible. So at least I went back to the person who I bought this from, and I got a quote-unquote battery that should have been new, but probably was sitting too long and went bad. So that was, do they say, useless also. So I traded that in basically to get a discount on a brand new battery. Brand new batteries, take that in, and you know, things started to look better from there. You know, so I kind of get the bike to, you know, got the bike to a little bit different around that time. But what I did do was mainly work on the lights and the wiring with those batteries, because they were good enough to do that type of work. But to start the bike properly, next episode will basically explain how that went down. That's basically the end of this episode. What I really did in this was not say install a stator or install a stator cover, except, you know, because I like I said, I forgot that I didn't do the actual recording of the complete switch. But this was an example of how to get there, how to take it apart and put it back together, and so on. But this is just this is like a minor stage, one of the easier parts of dealing with this build in this series, you know, and it was somewhat of a quicker one. So yeah, but nevertheless, as I go on building this bike or working on this bike, I gain more knowledge about the bike itself, as to what the history of the bike, or what is the history of the bike, you know, based on evidence and so on. And also I learned about motorcycle in general more and more as I worked on this. So it is a learning experience for me too, meaning at least I'm absorbing information and learning more. I enjoy doing that side of it. So it's, you know, it's a good thing. Of course, it's a good thing. So anyway, anyway guys, that'll be the end of this one. Hope that you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe if you did. Check out some of my older videos that are on this channel. So with that being said, I hope you go, you know, with something else on my channel, like those ones also. But nevertheless, as I go, I hope you had a good day. Hope you continue to have a good day. And of course, I hope to see you and you. Hope to see you on the road.